Hey everyone, DarkDragoon here with Season 2, Episode 46 of my FTB Modpack Let's Play. So today, we're actually going to be doing sort of a little bit of sort of odd jobs and sort of random projects that I've been sort of neglecting to do. Hopefully I'll be able to get through some of them. You guys can see I made myself one of these igneous extruders, and if that went by too fast, there we go. If that went by too fast, you guys can see the recipe there. Pretty simple. It's basically your aqueous accumulator recipe with a piston instead of a bucket. So pretty easy. But yeah, so I wanted to get some sort of odd projects done because, like I said, I've been sort of neglecting it, and it kind of needs to be done because it's getting kind of a pain to do this stuff manually. So the first thing that I'm going to set up is that I want to basically set this system to be completely autonomous. Thus far we've been sort of taking sand from inside our factory and occasionally dropping it over here into this chest, but I want to actually do this automatically. And to do that should be pretty simple. I should just be able to go down here and basically connect right up into this line. Hopefully we can set it up so that this will be the nearest inventory. So to do that, we're going to need a couple things. Namely, we're going to need our igneous extruder. We're going to have to definitely find a way to get power to this thing, but I'm just going to set it right here. That'll do. And you can see that it's going to need some water, and it's going to need... Actually, I don't even think we're going to need the aqueous accumulator, to be perfectly honest. I think we can just get a bucket of water. But the igneous extruder is actually a pretty cool machine. You can see it has 3 modes. It can either make cobblestone, stone, or obsidian. And the cool thing is that on one side it's going to take water, and on this side it's going to take lava. Now, it's pretty cool because if you want to just make obsidian, of course, you've got to get some kind of source of lava in here and water, because every time it makes obsidian, it's going to use up some of each of them. And same with stone, it's going to use up, I think it'll use up some lava. It might not use up lava, but does use up water. I can't quite remember. But the cool thing about cobblestone, which is what we're going to need first, is that cobblestone, to generate it, if you were to do it manually, in the vanilla way, doesn't actually use up any water or lava. It just sort of creates cobblestone. So that's going to be the cool thing about this system, is that we're not going to have to really bucket in a bunch of stuff. We can just put in a single bucket of lava, and that's going to be enough to keep this thing generating cobble for us. Now you might be wondering, okay, why are you going to generate cobble? You need sand. Well, the simple answer is, once we have some cobble, we'll set up a pulverizer, or yeah, actually a pulverizer. Should go ahead and make that. Let's try to remember. It's been a while since I made a pulverizer, so let's just take a look here. Not too bad. Just gonna need some gold. At least we don't need any electrum. That's good. So yeah, so let's just get this thrown together real fast. Not too bad. Okay. And we're going to need another piston. I was pretty sure we had our plan for that. And just some flint and some copper, which we should still have in fair abundance. Now, like I said, there's a couple different things that I'm trying to get going here, namely because I want to get our quarry moving again. And before I do that, the other project I want to work on is moving our storage space out of here in this tiny room with the chest and into a larger room with just a bunch of barrels, which hopefully should be pretty easy build to do. So, alright, so here we go. Let's see. We could stick our pulverizer right on top here, and then our cobble will come out of there into the pulverizer, which should work so long as we do this. Cool. Alright, so we're going to have 2 outputs on here. Namely, we're going to have some gravel and we're going to have some sand. And the stuff that I'm really caring about is our sand. So that's going to go that way. And then we can have our gravel come out this way, maybe into a chest or just something else. So we are going to need going to need a relay, but that's okay. I'm going to turn off this side of this thing. So the only other thing we're going to have to do here is set up some power, which I'm not sure how I want to go about powering this stuff. Let's just go ahead and dig back here. I could go with peat-fired engines, but it'd be kind of difficult keeping them supplied with peat at this distance. So I'm not going to really need to worry about that. Trying to oh, there it went. Trying to remember exactly how we put this stuff in here. Alright, let me take a few minutes to think about exactly how I'm going to power this, and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back, and you can see I slapped down a liquid transposer here real quick, and I'm actually not going to have to keep this here. I'm going to go ahead and break it off. I decided to go ahead and get myself an energy tesseract as well, and that's hooked up to our remote power net. Shouldn't require too much power, so it's not that big a deal. And I've just got myself an aqueous accumulator here that's slowly building up, basically so that we can get water over here. And that should go as soon as it has enough. Obviously it's running really slow because we don't have any water blocks next to it, but trying to decide, we could just, this shouldn't need to stay here for very long, so let's just I guess grab some water and do this real quick just to make it happy. We can just put some water right there, and that might speed it up enough. Looks like we did finally get enough water in here to matter. I'll just watch it. I'm pretty sure this doesn't actually consume water, but if it does, oh well, we have the aqueous accumulator here already, so we'll just have to see. But it is going to take a little while, so why don't I clip the video, and I'll come back as soon as we have some water showing up over here. Alright, I'm back. I went ahead and just sort of slapped a bunch of this water down just to get it going. And you can see as this thing is running, it's definitely not consuming either any water or any lava. So, we can just basically pull this thing up and not have to worry about it. So, I don't want water to go spilling all over the place though. Let me sleep through the night real quick. Alright, so here we go. So now we are creating cobblestone, and it's getting automatically converted into sand. That's exactly what we want. And of course we're going to pipe it out the top. So I think we should just be able to slap down a chest here, and that should maybe, yeah, that'll start collecting our gravel, which is fine. Realistically, what I probably should do is just void that stuff. Yeah, you know what? That's not a bad plan. We really don't need to be saving gravel. And I'm pretty sure we have spare void pipes hanging out in here. So the only other thing we're going to need is we're going to need to get ourselves a relay. That way we can convert from buildcraft pipes over to our pneumatic tubing. And so we should have plenty of transposers left over. Should be floating about somewhere. I'm trying to remember where we put those. It's going to be the trick, though. There we go. So, let's see. We're also going to need a buffer, which means some iron. This stuff. Let's see here. There's our buffer plan. Then there, get ourselves a buffer. Simple enough. And from there we should just need one of you. Relay. Cool. So, how are we doing on pneumatic tubing? Plenty. Cool. Alright, so I think we've got everything we need to get this put together and finished up. Pretty simple build, nothing too fancy and crazy, but I think it's going to do a pretty good job of what we need it to do. Of course, we just had sand fly out at us. So I'm thinking we should maybe, hopefully, be able to hook up right into here, and we're going to find out real fast if this is going to work. So we should be getting sand up that way, and it looks like sand is going up. Cool. And yeah, so there we go. It's pretty much going to be infinite. We're not really going to have to worry about this thing, because cobble is free in our igneous extruder here, and it's automatically being converted to sand. So the only thing we're really using is power, and we have a ton of that from our steam engines. So yeah, pretty nice. And we'll just slap that void pipe right there. And any gravel we get, which should not be a lot, will wind up basically just being destroyed, which is fine. No big loss. So there we go. Simple system. Dirt should still be going up because that inventory up there is closer. So there we go. Cool. And this thing is self-supplied with dirt, so we shouldn't have to worry about this thing at all anymore. It's just going to keep going, and we're never really going to have to look at it ever again, which works for me. So there we go. Cool. So, alright, so that done. The next thing I want to do this episode is, this room is just really not going to have enough storage space. I mean, we have a ton of these diamond chests, but even those, like when this thing is going at full clip, is having a little bit of problems. And I want to just be able to store a ton of resources. So, I've already been hard at work clearing out and building a new area. So you guys can see I've got myself a room going, and of course I'm going to have to get a floor on here. I basically dug out a basement so we have room for expansion later on. So basically I'm going to go off camera here for a little bit, get this room finished up, at least get the flooring in, and then we're going to basically see what we can't do to start moving everything that our sorting machine is doing from that room over to here, which is going to take quite a bit of pneumatic tubing. So I'll be back. Alright, so we are basically just going to make ourselves a metric ton of barrels, because we're basically going to line that entire room that we built with these awesome things. And of course, we're going to have some problems eventually, because we're going to need to make a ton of the interdimensional storage upgrades, but I'm not going to worry too much about that just yet. So basically what we're going to do is just line the walls with probably 2 rows of these barrels. And I honestly have no idea how many of these things we're going to need. I just know we're going to need a lot. Like a ton of a lot. Like a real lot. So, whoop. Note to self, you can hold barrels in barrels. Pretty crazy. So yeah, so this process is going to be pretty insane, because this is going to be a lot of barrels. And actually, we don't want any in the corners, because that's not really going to do us any good. We're not going to be able to get to those. So, yeah. So I'm basically just going to spend a little bit of time lining these barrels up and seeing where they get us. I have, what, about 20 left? Probably not going to be quite enough to get the whole room filled. But the main reason why I'm doing this is because each of these barrels is going to be dedicated to holding some kind of resource that we're processing in, our system. And that's going to take a lot of barrels. And I don't actually know how many it's going to take, but I figure if we fill this room up, then, well, we've got the basement as well. So, it looks like we're going to need, what? Let's see, let's count these real quick. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 24 more barrels should do the trick. I'm actually not sure how much of the stuff that we have. How many barrels do we think we can make? 8. It's not quite enough. Let's see. Whoop. So now I've forgotten 24 I said, right? So just a few more. So we're going to need a little bit more of our spruce wood. Just about have enough. That should do the trick. Should. If it's not enough, well, we'll have to, like I said, that's what we have the basement for. This is realistically the best way that I could think of to go about this. I was trying to decide how I could do it inside the room we already had, but I ultimately decided no, probably just going to need to make a new room. So that's what I did. So there we go. You can see gigantic room of stuff. Now what we could do is we could even add stuff here into the middle at some point, but we'll see how it goes. So basically, the way this system is going to work is it's just going to, all these barrels are going to wind up being the closest inventory for all of these things. And I know what you guys are probably thinking is, how are you going to manage this? This is a huge distance away from those chests over there, and the simple answer is basically just going to cut off the line that goes to those chests. And I don't know what we'll end up doing with that room. We'll figure out something, I'm sure, but yeah. It's basically going to go into it's going to become completely obsolete. That's not what I wanted to do. Hold down shift and you don't have to worry about throwing your pneumatic tubes into your barrels. So on the plus side, this probably isn't going to be anywhere near enough tubing for what we're doing, but we're going to get close, I think. Nice thing is that these tubes don't connect to the sides of the barrels and get all confused. So, oh, looks like we do have just enough tubing. So yeah, so I know this probably looks pretty insane, but I think it's going to work out, and we're going to need a lot more pneumatic tubes in this, obviously. I've also started building this line off of here, as that's how things are going to move. So let me get some more pneumatic tubes made, and I'll be back. Alright, got myself bunch more pneumatic tubes, and we're basically just going to run this over here and probably right through the light there. We'll get rid of it and just run our tubing through there. Not too big of a deal. I hope this won't, come on, this won't cut off lighting. Let's see. Okay, it does cut off lighting to over there pretty severely, actually. So that's no problem. We'll just do this. And of course we'll have to run over here and get some stuff. Let's see. Got our stone jacketed wiring, and probably should grab some stone brick covers as well. Look, the lighting is completely messed up. Well, this should fix it. There we go. Everything's turning back on. Cool. And we'll just cover up the mess we made. Not sure why that didn't just go ahead and stack, but okay. And yeah, so what we'll do is we'll just run our one hollow stone brick cover is all we have. That's not how I intended that to work, but oh, come on, what's your problem? There we go. We'll pop that out the other side. So let's go grab another cover here just so that this is taken care of ahead of time. I'll just grab the whole stack. I'm not sure how many I'm going to need, but Of course, we're going to have to deal with figuring out how we're going to light this room as well. So, could probably make some red power lights at some point, but for now I'm just going to use torches, just because they're simple and will do the job for now. Main goal is just to make sure that we alright, so I didn't finish that thought, did I? Um, no, the main thought is that we just have some lighting in here so we don't get monsters spawning. 'Cause that would be bad. Come on. There we go. The main way we're probably going to trick this system into working is that we're going to spend some time just sort of loading this thing up with, you know, each of these barrels with one of pretty much everything. And that should at least be able to let the system know, hey, the closest inventory for what I want is way over here instead of where it's been connected. So basically, as it stands right now, we should just be able to connect this and break this. And now anything that's coming through the system really has no other choice but to go that way. Now, I honestly have not counted this, and I bet you money it's further than 50 tubes. I'm actually going to clip the video and count this off screen. Alright, so I've confirmed that this distance is further, but it looks like it doesn't care. I might be wrong about the restriction tube being 50 squares. It might be further. But you guys should be able to see very, very quickly how this works. Now, it went this way basically for no reason other than it just picked, you know, both this barrel and that one were equidistant, so it just picked a random one. But now that, if more rubber comes through here, it'll still try to make that choice. Well, we're basically going to force that to be a non-choice. So basically what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to clean out my inventory, and I'm going to start gathering basically one of everything that we're processing and start loading up the barrels. And you guys will see how that works here in just a minute. So I'll be back. Alright, so I've filled every single one of these barrels with something. A lot of this stuff, I'm not even sure if it's really going to stay here, but I definitely wanted to make sure that every single barrel was filled with something. That way things go in the proper direction. So, you guys can also see that I dug under here and basically disconnected every single pipe that connected to something that didn't have a filter on it. The main reason that I did this was so that I can basically still hook this up and have some things go this way, but only things that the filters are allowing. So right now, obviously, I'm disconnecting a lot of this stuff just for testing purposes, of course. I don't have spots for some of this stuff, so that's fine. I just completely disconnected the pipe to that filter. And this one should be good to have nothing in it as well. So let's just pull this out of here. Whoop. Yeah, okay, I missed that one. But theoretically, if this is going to work, we should just be able to now dump everything into here. Gunpowder, quartz, there we go. And it should get pulled out, sent along the line. It should go ahead and head off that direction toward the barrel that it wants to go into. And thus far it looks like everything, of course, is having no problem. We don't need, I was a little worried about this restriction tube, but everything seems to be going the right way. So let's take a look here. I just want to double check to make sure nothing's connected that's bad. And we can actually go ahead and we'll put a restriction tube here. That way, hopefully, the only things that'll go this way are the random junk that doesn't have a way to go that way. So it looked like it worked, so I'm just going to grab basically a mess of this stuff and we're going to process it basically. Hopefully, obviously right now I'm just sort of taking a random motley assortment of stuff, mostly just for testing purposes. Now by doing it this way, theoretically all of this stuff should have a place to go, and that's kind of what we want to happen. Okay. Now of course the sorting machine isn't exactly needed. Okay. What were you? Iridium. Okay, that's because that doesn't have a place to go. That's the one thing I forgot. That's okay though. What we could do is tell Iridium to go here for the time being. Okay. Everything does appear to be going the right direction. Now I want to make sure it's getting where it needs to go. Looks like everything is sorting perfectly. You guys can hopefully see the benefits of this. That way I can have, it's very visual, first of all. And second of all, it's going to be able to hold a lot more, particularly when we start getting some extra dimensional storage. So there you go. Cool. So thus far everything appears to be sorting properly. So I'm just basically going to, again, random assortment of random stuff, as much of it as possible. I just want to make sure to test sort of every possible chest. Alright, go. It's not super fast, but we could probably about now add another sorting machine there and it would be fine. Cool. Now, interestingly enough, because we're doing it this way now, we really don't need all the color coding, but I might as well just leave it that way. That way I have a very easy visual cue when I see stuff going through the pipe, what kind of stuff it is. That works. So it looks to be working pretty well. So basically what I'm going to do, actually this is a big test that I want to do, and I want to do this on camera because quartz tends to be a little bit finicky. And basically to test this out, we're just going to take a bit of our quartz 4, the metadata 4 on it, and see what happens to it, and we're going to follow it because I'm a little worried that it's not going to know where to go. For some reason, quartz has all this metadata on it, and it can be kind of annoying. Yeah, see, that's a problem. So probably what's going to happen is I'm probably going to have to basically take all the metadata quartz and basically tell it to go into this filter, which is going to be a little bit annoying, but I'm kind of hoping that this gets fixed in a later version of Zycraft, because it's kind of a pain. Kind of a big pain. Because then, of course, I mean, right now, obviously, we don't have any metadata 3. So when we get metadata 3, it's going to get all messed up in our system, but not a whole lot we can do about that. Okay, so now that you guys saw that, basically the rest of this I'm going to do off camera, and I hopefully won't be gone too long, so I'll be back. Alright, so I just took a look at the clock here, and it looks like we're at the point where we need to call this episode. Yeah, because we're at about that 30-minute mark. So, I know this episode was pretty housekeepy, but hopefully it's gonna do us some good in the long run. Because definitely I want to get our quarry running again. And so I'm going to do that between this episode and next. And then hopefully next episode I want to work on a couple things. Basically I want to work on a little bit of a machine sort of thing that's going to help us just get dark iron a little bit easier than having to do it manually. And we're going to see what else we're going to get into next episode. So until then, oh geez, what episode are we on? 46? Yeah, I think we're on 46. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. If I'm right, then good on me. So yeah, this has been episode 46 of DarkDragoon's Feed the Beast Modpack Let's Play, Season 2. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll catch you guys next episode.